There is an open box of baking soda in your refrigerator right now. In 1955, a farm wife used the same box, and hers actually worked. Same soda, same yellow box, more or less. The difference is not the product, and it is not the brand. The difference is what she did with it, and she did three things you are not doing, and the first one takes about 4 seconds. Now go open your refrigerator door and take a real breath. If there is a smell in there, and there probably is, then that box on the shelf has been sitting in it for a year, doing nothing. It has not failed. It was never going to work the way you set it up, and the way you set it up is the way the side of the box tells you to. I want to be careful here because this is going to sound like I am telling you a household product is a fraud. I am not. Baking soda genuinely does what people say it does. It is one of the few old remedies that holds up under actual chemistry. And I will show you exactly why in a minute. What does not hold up is the open box on the shelf, and there is a reason nobody ever tells you that. I grew up in a house where the spring house handled the cold and the icebox handled the rest, and later on there was a refrigerator, and my grandmother treated the inside of that thing like a cupboard she was responsible for. There was soda in there, certainly. But the soda was the last thing she did, not the first, and it was never sitting in a box. By the end of this, you will know why an open box does almost nothing, and it is a matter of arithmetic, not opinion. You will know the one thing in your refrigerator right now that is causing most of the smell, and it is not the food. You will know why smells that seem to come out of nowhere are almost always coming from one of three places, and none of them is the shelf you are looking at. And you will know the two things people mix with baking soda that cancel it out completely. Stay with me, because the second part is the one that actually fixes it. Here is the reframe, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Baking soda does not absorb odors. Baking soda neutralizes acids. That sounds like splitting hairs. It is the entire difference between the thing working and the thing sitting there for a year. An absorber, like activated charcoal, is a sponge. It has an enormous amount of surface area riddled with tiny pores, and odor molecules of all kinds get physically caught in it. It does not care what the molecule is, it just traps it. Baking soda does not do that. Sodium bicarbonate is a mild base, and it works by chemical reaction. An acidic odor molecule comes into contact with it, they react, and the smell is gone because the molecule that made the smell is no longer that molecule. It has been converted into something that does not smell. Now that distinction matters enormously because it tells you exactly what baking soda is good at and what it is useless against. Sour milk, buttermilk that got away from you, spoiled cream, the vinegar tang of something fermenting in the back, the sharp smell of rotting fruit, the butyric acid that makes rancid butter smell the way it does, all acidic. All right, in the wheelhouse. But a great many kitchen smells are not acidic at all. Onion, garlic, and cabbage give off sulfur compounds. Fish gives off amines, which are alkaline, the opposite end of the scale. Baking soda does very little against those, and if you have ever wondered why the box handled the sour milk episode and did absolutely nothing about the leftover fish, that is why. It is not a deodorizer, it is an acid neutralizer that happens to hit a lot of the common ones, and it is worth knowing why that box was in a farm kitchen in the first place, because it did not arrive as a refrigerator product. Baking soda was a baking ingredient and a cleaning powder long before anybody put one in a refrigerator. It was in the biscuits every morning. It cost pennies a box in the middle of the 1950s, and it sat on the shelf next to the flour, not in a category of its own. Putting one in the cold box was somebody noticing that a thing they already owned had another use, which is exactly how every method on this channel got invented. Nobody bought a solution, somebody looked at what was already on the shelf, and there is a second reason it belonged in an old kitchen more than it belongs in yours. A farm refrigerator, and before that, an icebox, was full of dairy. Raw milk, cream setting for butter, buttermilk, clabber, soft cheese. Dairy going off is an acid problem, and acid is the exact thing soda answers. She was not guessing. She had matched the tool to the smell she actually had, even without ever hearing the word bicarbonate. So it works. Now here is why yours does not. The reaction requires contact. The odor molecule has to physically touch a soda particle, nothing happens at a distance, and now look at the box on your shelf. A 1-pound box of baking soda, sitting with the little panel torn open at the top. How much soda is actually exposed to the air in that refrigerator? The square inch or two at the opening. That is it. Everything below the top layer is buried under the rest of the powder and will never meet a single odor molecule for as long as it sits there. You have bought a pound of a working substance and put 99% of it in storage. That is not the product failing, that is the packaging deciding how you use it, and the packaging was designed to sell a box, not to expose a surface. I put a number on this in my own kitchen and it settled it for me. I had a refrigerator that had a smell I could not place, not spoiled, just wrong, the way a refrigerator gets after a couple of years. There had been an open box on the top shelf for at least 8 months. So I took the box out and dumped the whole pound onto a rimmed baking sheet, spread it out in a thin layer, maybe an eighth of an inch deep, and slid the tray onto the middle shelf. 2 days. That is all it took. The smell that 8 months in a box had not touched was gone in 2 days. Same soda, same refrigerator, same week. The only thing that changed was how much of it the air could actually reach, and a tray gives you something in the range of 100 times the exposed surface of a torn open box. That is the number to hold on to. Not the brand and not the freshness date. 100 times. And one more thing came out of that. Once the refrigerator was clean, I noticed something I had stopped noticing, which is that a working refrigerator does not smell like anything at all. Not fresh, not clean, not a scent, nothing. If you open yours and get any smell whatsoever, even one you would call mild or normal, that is not the baseline. And that is a problem you have got used to. If this is already making you want to go look at that box, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn the notification bell on while you are there. I put out one of these every week, the old practical knowledge that worked for 100 years and got quietly replaced with something you have to keep buying. The bell is the only way these reach you. Then stay right here because the next part is the one that actually solves it. Here is the second part, and it is the whole thing. She never used soda to fix a smell. She used it to hold a clean box clean. That is the order, and almost everybody has it backward. If there is a smell in your refrigerator right now, baking soda is not your tool. Baking soda is what goes in after you have removed the thing that is making the smell, and it is there to handle the small, ordinary business of a working refrigerator, not to fight an ongoing source. Because here is what nobody says out loud. A smell is a physical substance in the air, and it is coming off something. There is always a source. Leave it in there and you can put 10 pounds of soda on every shelf and the source will keep producing faster than the soda converts. And the source is almost never the thing you are looking at. It is in one of three places, and I would bet on the first. The drip pan. Almost every refrigerator has a shallow pan underneath, usually at the back behind a kick panel, that catches water from the defrost cycle. That water evaporates and everything that ran down with it stays behind. Over a few years, that pan becomes a tray of slime, and it is warm down there because it sits near the compressor. That is a smell generator running 24 hours a day, and most people have never once looked at it. The gaskets. The rubber seal around the door has folds, and those folds collect crumbs, spills, and moisture, and mold grows there readily. Run your finger deep into the fold at the bottom corner. Whatever comes out on it has been in the airflow every time that door opens. The drain. There is a small drain hole at the back of most refrigerator compartments, and when it clogs, water backs up under the crisper drawers where you never look. Pull the drawers all the way out and look at the floor of that well. Clean those three, and the smell leaves. Then the soda has a job it can actually do. And one more thing she did that nobody does now. Everything in that refrigerator was covered. An uncovered dish does two things at once. It puts its own smell into the air and it takes on everybody else's. A cut onion on an open plate will flavor the butter, and that is not a myth. That is fat picking up volatile compounds out of the air, which is exactly what fat is good at. Cover everything and half the problem never starts. Now let me tell you about the money, and this one is a small story rather than a villain. Baking soda is one of the cheapest things in the store. A pound costs about $1, and it is the same compound whether the front says food grade or cleaning. There is no premium version and nothing to upsell. So look at how it gets sold, a box with a small tear-off panel and a recommendation to replace it every 30 days. That recommendation is the entire business. The soda has not gone bad. Sodium bicarbonate in a cold, dry box does not expire in any meaningful way. The exposed surface at the top crusts over, and the pound underneath never gets a turn. The fix is free. Pour it on a tray, but nobody prints that on the box because a tray of soda that works for months is one sale instead of 12. I am not telling you there is a room somewhere where men decided this. There is not. Nobody is lying to you, and the product is exactly what it says it is. What happened is simpler and worse. It is a quiet agreement among everybody who profits to never mention surface area because surface area is the whole answer and it costs nothing. Nobody has to coordinate. They only have to leave it off the box, and they have for 70 years. And look what got added while nobody was watching. Plastic clip-on holder for soda you already own. scented gel cups, cartridges, a whole small aisle of refrigerator deodorizers. Most of them either soda in a different shape or a perfume that covers the smell instead of removing it, and none of them touching the drip pan causing it. If that landed, hit like and subscribe and ring that bell. Now here is the third part, which is where to put it and what to expect. Surface area first, as we said, a shallow tray, a pie plate, a rimmed baking sheet if you have the room. Spread thin, do not pile it. Placement second. Cold air sinks and refrigerators move air on a loop. So put the tray where air is actually flowing rather than tucked in a back corner behind a jug. A middle shelf near the back with clearance around it does more than the door shelf where most people stick the box. Then stir it. Once a week, drag a fork through it. The top layer takes on moisture and crusts, and breaking that crust exposes fresh material without spending a cent. That alone will double the life of the tray. And give it time. This is slow. It is a mild base doing a gentle reaction on a small number of molecules at a time. 2 days is a fair test. If 2 days on a proper tray does not move it, you do not have an air problem, you have a source problem, and you need to go back to the drip pan. Now the warnings, because there is bad advice on this subject everywhere. First, and this is the one that makes me shake my head, do not mix baking soda and vinegar as a cleaner. This is the most repeated cleaning tip on the internet, and it is chemically backward. Vinegar is an acid, soda is a base, and when you combine them, they neutralize each other into carbon dioxide, water, and a little salt. That fizz everybody films is not the cleaning. That is the sound of both of your cleaners dying. Use them separately. Vinegar for mineral scale, soda for scrubbing and for acidic odors. Second, do not mix baking soda with bleach, and do not mix bleach with anything. Never in the refrigerator. If you have used bleach in there, and I would not, rinse thoroughly before anything else goes near it. Third, baking soda is a mild abrasive, and mild is not the same as none. It will dull and scratch soft plastic interiors and clear, crisper drawers over time, and it will haze up an acrylic surface permanently. Use it as a paste on stubborn spots only, not as your everyday wipe for the whole box. Fourth, do not use baking soda in a self-cleaning oven cycle, and do not use it on aluminum pans, which it will discolor. That is outside our subject, but it comes up every time. Fifth, and this matters more than the rest, a smell that comes back within a day or two after a proper cleaning is telling you something. If the food in there is spoiling faster than it should, or if there is a persistent musty smell, check the temperature before you chase the odor. A refrigerator should be at 40 degrees or below, and a great many are running warmer than their owners believe. Put a $6 thermometer on the middle shelf and read it in the morning. A warm refrigerator makes smells because it is letting things spoil, and no amount of soda addresses that. And a plain one. If you find black growth in the gasket or standing water under the drawers, wear gloves, use hot soapy water, and throw the cloth away afterward rather than putting it back in the sink. So here is exactly what to do this weekend. In order, empty it, all of it, onto the counter. This is the part people skip, and it is the part that worse. You cannot find a source in a full refrigerator. Throw out anything you are unsure about. If you are standing there holding a jar and thinking about it, that is your answer. Pull the crisper drawers all the way out and look at the floor of the well underneath. Clean it and check that the little drain hole at the back is clear. Get into the door gasket. Fold it back with your finger all the way around, hot soapy water on a cloth, and get into the corners. Find the drip pan, behind the kick panel at the bottom front or at the back near the compressor. Check your model for how it comes out and unplug the refrigerator first. Wash it, dry it, put it back. Wipe the interior with warm water and a little dish soap. Rinse with plain water, dry it. Soap and water is the right tool here, not a strong cleaner and not a perfume. Then, and only then, put in the tray. Spread thin middle shelf near the back. Stir it weekly, replace it when it stops keeping up, which will be months and not 30 days. Cover everything that goes back in, and when the tray is spent, do not throw it out. Pour it down the sink drain and run hot water behind it, or scatter it in the bottom of a trash can before the bag goes in. It is only finished at the job you gave it. If you have gotten this far with me, hit like, subscribe, and turn on that bell. Nobody sponsors a video explaining that a dollar box does the work of a whole aisle, so the only thing keeping this in front of people is you. One more thing, because it is the part I actually think about. That soda box was not a refrigerator product. It was one box on a shelf that did about 9 jobs. It went in the biscuits. It scrubbed the sink and the enamel on the stove. It went into a paste for a sting in the summer. It went down the drain. When the drain got sour, it sat in the icebox and later the refrigerator. It went in the wash. One box, $1, 9 jobs. Now go and count how many products under your sink between them. Do what that one box did and add up what they cost. I asked her once why she did not buy the sprays my mother used. She said she did not see the point of buying 9 things to do the work of one thing she already had. You did not forget this. Nobody taught you, and then you forgot. It was taken from you one specialized product at a time until you had a shelf full of things with a single use each and a box in your refrigerator you were told to throw away every month, still nearly full. So do one thing tonight. Take the box out, pour it onto a tray, and put the tray on the middle shelf. Then, in 2 days, come back and tell me in the comments whether it worked, what county you were in, and what else your grandmother used that box for, because I read every one, and those stories are the reason I keep recording. And if this rang true to you, come back for the next one, because I am going to show you how she kept a cast iron skillet slicker than any coated pan sold today, why the thing everybody does at the sink is quietly ruining it, and the one step that takes 10 minutes and lasts a generation. Nobody sells it, so nobody teaches it. I will. Keep it simple, keep it yours. And remember the people who ran a whole kitchen out of one box? New things we are only starting to remember.